Yo, what is up, guap benders? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about evaluating yourself, appraising yourself, and deciding what you're worth. And that's going to be in the manifestation of how do I price myself? So let's get right into it.
Look in the mirror, my reflection, a bag of money. Okay. I look in the mirror, my reflection, a bag of money. What? I look in the mirror.
First things first, you got to consider your costs. And this is your time cost and your money cost, right? So for service-based businesses, you're probably going to be mostly heavy on the time side in terms of expenses, where you expend a lot of time to get something done. Or for like product-based businesses, majority of your expenses are going to be cost of goods, inventory, so on and so forth. So let's break down each of those really quickly. For a service-based business, if you're heavy on the time side, you have to decide what your time is worth. Or if you're in a position like me where the service you provide is very valuable, but you don't have to spend a lot of time on it, then there's another method that we'll get into in a second. But first, if you're heavy on the time side, decide what your time is worth. If you have to work 30 hours a week on a project, you have to decide what those 30 hours are worth to you. Are you worth being paid $10 an hour, or are you worth being paid $50 an hour or $100 an hour? Choose that for yourself. But then remember, you also have to deliver. I don't want to pay $100 an hour for somebody and they give me $10 an hour work. So make sure that you're pricing yourself at whatever you believe you are truly worth in terms of your input and output. And a note on that is, a lot of times if you're just starting out in the beginning, you'll probably underprice yourself. So you'll learn through experiences, oh, I'm actually worth more than this. And that's happened to me, that's happened to everybody that I know that started a service-based business. You start off underpricing yourself, and then you see the fruit of your efforts, and you're just like, oh wow, this is juicy. Next time, let's change this up. Right? So, and you always learn, you always elevate, and there always hits a point where you're like, oh shit, I'm actually worth more. So the price goes up, right? So you have to decide what your time is worth. Now, something that helps this, which is that other method that I was talking about, is what is your monetary ROI, right? So for me, I don't have to spend a lot of time in what I'm doing. Right? A lot of the efforts are just like maybe 10 hours a week to truly, if I'm spending more than that, it's because I'm doing extra stuff that I either need to do because it's a special thing going on, or I'm wasting valuable time where I could be spending doing something else, and now I'm here doing redundant, repetitive tasks that I don't need to be doing. So for a scenario like that, for a service-based business, then you decide your monetary ROI. So for me, I structure my payments as a retainer, and that retainer is a scaling retainer. So anytime we hit certain milestones, the price changes, right? And so that price is based on, okay, what do I know I can deliver to the client? So if I know I can deliver $20,000 a month to a client, then I'm comfortable charging $1,200 a month, right? Because I know that at the end of the day, I want them to eat, and your prices could be completely different. At the end of the day, I know they have costs. I know, and I also know that they want to eat, they want to be wealthy. So it's like, I don't charge too much, but I charge enough to where I feel satisfied with the work I'm doing. So $1,200 a month, right? Let's say if I make them $20,000. But then let's say if I make them $100,000, I'm charging $9,000 a month or $7,000 a month, whatever, because that makes me feel more comfortable with the output that I'm giving to them, right? If I'm gonna make you 6 figures a month, then I want a retainer that will make me 6 figures a year, right? And this is off of one client, and that makes me feel comfortable because I have decided that this is what I am worth. People will agree with you or disagree with you, and that's just the game. But anyway, I digress. Realizing your monetary worth is a big factor. I've definitely worked in a service-based business before where I was managing social media, and it was very hard for me to decide the monetary worth, and I still don't know that I can. So in that, and that's pretty much on the other side of things, where you can't exactly put a dollar amount to what you're doing, but that is a time intensive service and you have to decide what your time is worth. Anyway, on to the next one. Product-based businesses. For a product-based business, it's a bit easier because you have things to calculate, you have hard numbers. So for example, let's say your cost of goods is 30% of your revenue, right? So if you have $10,000 worth of inventory, about 3,000 of it was just to get the products bought and shipped to you, okay? And then what are your other costs, right? Your taxes, your shipping, any cost of fulfillment, software, everything like that. Let's say that adds up to another 20%, right? So now you're at 50% expenses, right? But let's say now you have employees to pay and ads to run, right? So then let's add another 20% to that. So really, out of that $10,000 revenue, what was it? 70% of it was expenses. So you have a 30% profit margin now. So you make $10,000, but really you profit $3,000. And then you have to decide what your business model is. Are you just gonna take home all the profits, or are you going to add profits back in to further stimulate the growth of your business? So I would say for product-based businesses, you need to get a hold of your expenses, and then you need to play with the revenue and the margin numbers and really decide what is fair and what is realistic. So and realistic does not apply to revenue, by the way. Revenue that is realistic is anything, honestly. Money is limitless. Realistic in terms of profit, because you have to consider the growth of the business. So while you're one person starting, you may have a 40-50% revenue. But as you hire people, as you take on expenses to grow, that profit margin will further decrease to somewhere probably between 10 and 20% profit margins, right? So you want to really keep that in mind as you grow, but it also depends on your business and what your initial cost of goods are and everything like that. That's in the terms of realistic. And what is fair? Are you massively overpriced for your market? You don't want to be too overpriced for your market, right? Like, unless you brand it as luxury and you really make it a luxury experience, and you don't want to be overpriced for your market, because then you're reducing the quality of your brand. So those are some things to pay attention to. I do have a profit analysis calculator that I use for my clients to get all these numbers down, understand the expenses, understand what we're spending on ads, and then what our KPIs are, but then also we get to play with the revenue numbers, the different factors, to get an idea of what will they make in their pockets at the end of the day if these goals are achieved, or if we stick to these numbers, so we can move with clarity. So if you guys do want access to that, then just click the link below, join my Patreon, it'll be there. If not, then it's not that complicated to figure out. You just need to get really in the weeds with it and think about how all the moving parts work together. But if you already want that done for you, it's already a fully mapped out calculator, then go ahead and join the Patreon. You'll find that and multiple other resources that you can use to get clarity on your business so that it can grow. Thank you for watching this video, guys. I hope that it was helpful to you in terms of pricing yourself. Comment below and let me know if you have any further questions, so that I can make another video answering those questions. See y'all next time.
Reality ain't what we see, reality is what we think. Manifesting in my dreams, I'm reaching out the bigger thing. I want a Rolls Royce, drive a panoramic, Bogart when I'm in traffic. Forget that, I don't wanna wreck. Work too hard for this blessing.